Welcome back to Module 5 of the Agile Operations Fundamentals course. In this segment, we're going to talk about how we understand the current situation and the desired outcome. So once we have mobilized the team for process improvement, the first step in the workshop process, the first set of workshop activities is to understand both the problem and the desired outcome. This has to be done long before you go into looking at solutions. In the understand phase, what we need to do is we need to know our numbers. The first thing is we need to know the key metrics. We then need to look at the current problems by doing a retrospective and doing root cause analysis, which will identify the challenges and the blockers. We need to understand the outcome and the value that we're actually delivering, including the current objectives, goals, and strategy. We then need to understand our value drivers. This is very important in helping us determine what are the right goals. And finally, we need to do our value stream mapping exercise. So in this module, we're going to cover the top 5. In the next module, we're going to do value stream mapping by itself. The first bit we need to do is understand the numbers. We should try and gather as much information as we can before we go into a process mapping exercise. Now, that does not mean we have to spend months trying to gather this information. Keep it simple, keep it light, and if you don't have it, we can always start baselining it for the future. The key numbers that teams have to look at: the unit cost per transaction. This is the total cost of the team doing the work divided by the number of transactions. The cycle time, which is the time it takes for a transaction to flow from one end of the process to the other. The throughput, the number of transactions over a given period. This could be a day, a week, or a month. The defect rate, so this is a quality measure, and this can depend on whatever type of process you're doing. So you'll have to pick the right defect rate. The staff morale, or the team temperature as it's called, the attrition rate, and finally, of course, customer satisfaction. It is very important to try and know the trend over the last 6 months at least. But if you don't have this, as I said, don't wait before you go into a process optimization process. Now, once we've got the base metrics, the first step is to understand the problem. The best way to go about this is to look at a retrospective. And the best way to do this is to do a retrospective. A retrospective is an agile practice that uses the wisdom of the crowd, the wisdom in the group, in the workshop, use sticky notes and look at what went well and what could have been improved. So group them, put them up, and out of this exercise will normally come the top 5 issues or the top 7 problems that the team is facing. However, you must remember that these 7 issues, normally when you rank them in order of pain, will always show you the symptoms and not the root cause. It's important to take the number 1 problem and then do a root cause analysis, or the 5 whys as it's called, on this problem. This is a facilitated technique whereby the facilitator can work with the people in the workshop to ask the 5 whys. Why do we have this problem? Once you come up with that, you ask, so why do we have that problem? And then why do we have that? And you can have multiple lines on the same tree. And by doing this, we come up with the root cause of the problems that have been identified. Now, this is very important because the solution must address the root cause. If it only addresses the symptoms, then you may be just putting a band-aid rather than a permanent solution. After we've looked at the problem, it's very important to look at the desired outcome. So this means looking at the objectives of the team, understanding the vision, the mission, the goals, and any existing strategy in place. What is the strategy from the team above? What are the goals from the level above? Having done this, the teams have to also understand what are the value drivers. In normal conditions, almost every operational team has these 5 drivers in one form or the other. So they wish to reduce unit cost, or improve quality, improve customer satisfaction, increase throughput, or improve cycle time. And it can be one or more than one that is required. However, any given team at a particular time normally has one of these that are the key focus. So it's very good to sit with the stakeholders and try and understand for the coming period, let us say 3 months or 6 months, is reduction of unit cost more important than quality, or is quality more important than cycle time, or maybe it's important to increase the throughput? Does not mean that we're not doing the other things. It's just a very good tool to have a discussion about what is important to the team in order of priority at the current moment. And these value drivers help you set SMART goals for the team. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based goals based on the value drivers. It is important to have a facilitated workshop, have all the participants identified in the mobilize phase present, have a facilitator, and run the understand stage in a series of little workshops, or maybe just one workshop over a couple of hours. And the purpose again is to get shared understanding of the problem and of the desired outcome. So to summarize, be prepared with your numbers, whatever you have. Do the retrospective. Now this retrospective could be done before you go into the workshops, or you can do it during the workshops. Do the root cause analysis to identify the challenges and blockers, identify your outcomes and the value that you add, the current objectives, goals, and strategy, and finally, what are the value drivers? And this brings us nicely to the last stage, which is the value stream mapping of the as-is process. And this will be covered in the next module. Thank you very much.